Well, let's talk a little bit about WrestleMania this weekend. That's what everybody is talking about. And one of the big things everybody's talking about is who is going to be Randy Orton's opponent.
You asked this last week. Do you have any options for me?
The betting favorite is Nick Aldis. I've seen the betting sites that are out there, and they're saying he's got 11 to 10 odds. So he is the betting favorite, pretty strong. Ric Flair is 100 to 1. He's a long shot. I'm going to go ahead and say if you can get a bet on who it is not, dump everything you own and your family owns into that it will not be Ric Flair. Yeah. But there is speculation. Is it Jeff Cobb? Is it Rey Fenix? Is it The Miz? Is it Sami Zayn? Is it some celebrity integration? Is it Nick Aldis? And is it Aleister Black? Is it Andrade? Is it Rusev? Like if you were booking, there's plenty of ways to do this. What would you do with Randy Orton at WrestleMania?
You're saying Double J just wave the magic wand, right?
Yep. You're going to get to agent this one and make the call.
All right. Oh boy. All right. So, you know, me and Nick's relationship, the sentimental favorite. I mean, me and Nick go way back. What a moment. But let's move him aside, okay? Because he's the odds-on favorite. And just the way you went down that entire list, and I haven't watched their program enough to know, I'm assuming if he's the odds-on favorite, they've done several bits of storyline pieces to tease it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And this was the KO. So would there be a scenario that this is kind of, in a lot of ways, and I know last year was there, but it felt so fresh, but a lot of ways, is this the Triple H coming out party that Orton goes down and talks about the last 22, 23 years or whatever it may be? Is there a scenario that Triple H puts on the boots one last time, Conrad? Gives him the pedigree? Nope.
No.
Well, I'm just saying, what's the biggest shock you could do? And
I mean, listen, that's why I think a celebrity integrate. Because listen, I know this is not what everybody wants. You and I both want Nick Aldis.
That's the heartstrings. Yes.
Yes. I mean, that's what we want. But if you're going to do a celebrity integration, I feel like a lot of guys could take an RKO. So if you wanted to just RKO a whole bunch of celebrities or comedians, I think you could do that.
Let me ask you, Jake Paul available?
Well, I don't know that he would do that, but I, the whole Rogan sphere of stand-up comedy is going to be there for the roast, I imagine. And they're all just wrestling fans. So I think if you were looking to have some viral moments, I think that Randy Orton segment could deliver that.
Okay. No, there's no doubt. It just goes into, like, what do they really want to deliver out of this? I'm assuming they're going to not need time. They'll figure a way around that. It's Mania. So, I mean, they definitely got more than that. And any of the names that you threw out, no disrespect to any of them, but I just kind of feel, man, when you're talking about the 23-year run, if you will, and all, it is outside of a celebrity, it is going to be hard to, quote unquote, over deliver. Yeah. I think
when you look at this year's WrestleMania card, of course, everybody's talking about WrestleMania right now. Is there one match that stands out to you as a potential show stealer?
Mr. Silva, do you happen to have the card in front of you? Because
we'll run through some matches now. The War Raiders and New Day. You want to give a prediction?
New Day over.
Rey Mysterio and some newcomer named El Grande Americano. Any idea what you expect there? I don't know who El Grande Americano is. I don't know who he's beat or how he got. But I do think it's shameful that he's in the card and there's so many. Where's the Miz? Why can't the Miz? Who is this guy and who'd he ever beat?
The living legend is. There ain't no doubt he's getting his hand raised in his new hometown. Ray with the win.
I'm not mad at that. Our next match that Silva's got ready for us on deck is 1-2 LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. Got a prediction here?
Ain't no way.
Still with us, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just telling you, there ain't no way they're going to slow down Jacob's momentum.
Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. This is the one that everybody's talking about.
That was when you first said who's going to steal the show. I've got a suspicious thought. There's your show stealer. There's been all that chatter to go around it. They heated it back up, kind of got the chess pieces, if you will, because we talked about that. Was that just last week? Yeah. Who's the heel? Who's the baby face? And where are they going with this? I mean, Tiffany, the champion, but boy, the stuff they did on Friday, she's no doubt. The antagonist now, that is Charlotte, it's just set up in the right way, I believe now. So lesson learned from Jerry Jarrett School of Thought many years ago. Son, we got Saturday morning TV. Quit worrying about it. We'll make it right then. Just shut the F up.
Another match at WrestleMania is going to be Jey Uso and Gunther. And this is the match that a lot of people have they wanted it and then they didn't want it. And now it seems like there's two schools of thought. There's that live crowd that's eating their eyeballs out. And then there is the chatter online. A lot of chatter. Oh, we don't want Jey Uso. He doesn't deserve it. Oh, Gunther should win. Recently talked to JBL and he says this is the potential show stealer for him. What do you expect here?
Oh, JBL said that. You know what? I'm definitely, he's zigging. I'm going the other way. That crowd, big show crowd is what I'm saying. And that the yeet, I'll just, on a big show like that entrance off of that stage or however he does all this, man, it is, gosh. And I'll say this, Jay, my man, I hope I'm wrong. His interest on a big show feel, and I'm sure they're going to have this thing dressed up, and he may have maybe one or two celebrity integrations. It's going to be look, Gunther's style by design is, I don't think it's his style to start a match hot. That ain't who Gunther's about. He builds and builds and builds, and a hell of a talent. But I think the amount of time this match is given is crucial, and I think you would lean into less is more. But they may want to go a different way, but they may bring them all the way down, and then Yeaton's going to come all the way back. But I think they've got their work cut out in a lot of ways. I don't think this is going to be a show stealer. That's just my opinion.
So you're saying this is going to be a shit match?
I didn't say that. I think they've got their work cut out to follow that interest on a big stadium show. And Jey is a high energy guy. And I say Gunther, and because his character is designed this way, he's not this big bump taker that a high energy babyface can really feed off of in this big show atmosphere. So I'm not going to say a clash of styles, although the potential of the clash of styles is definitely there.
I'm looking forward to this one because, and you and I've talked about this before, how important in life and in business managing expectations are. And I think so many people have decided this won't be a good match and they don't want to see it. Oh man, the internet, they've turned on Jey Uso in a big way. A lot of the smart fans online, they're not with it. And I get it. But it's like, hey guys, not everything on the show is for you.
No,
that's his aim. I mean, I remember Halloween 6 months ago. I had more trick-or-treaters dressed up like Jey Uso than any other wrestler.
Let me ask you, in the last couple of years, name a better dynamic entrance.
Yeah, I mean, it's right up there.
I mean, I'd have to rack our brain. I'm sure in the chat we may have some. And
that's fun. We want to hear from you guys. Who in the last few years in the modern era has had a better entrance than Jey Uso? That's a good question.
It's really caught fire. And look, did you see the Pat McAfee Wednesday night or tune in to any of the Pittsburgh deal? And did you
saw some clips? Yeah.
Yeah. So my man, our Cody Angle in the household, he literally watched every second of that thing. Unfortunately, he watched for the wrong reason. You know why he watched, right?
No.
He thought for sure Aaron Rodgers was going to walk out.
Oh, I got you.
We tried to tell him. But anyway, his favorite part was, oh, God, he told me all about it that night. Dad, Jey Uso was at this thing and all this. So, and I know Pat, but what I'm saying is the energy's fun. It's infectious. It is caught on. It is something that the yeet, all of that is the water cooler talk that I think this business absolutely thrives on. I mean, it absolutely thrives on creating water cooler talk because, again, I'm sorry for the hardcore and the people but it has nothing to do with a hot spot. It has nothing to do with wrestling. It literally has nothing to do with an interview. It is just an infectious energy vibe that only this business. It's like you're never going to see. I don't care who it is, any sport. Not gonna do this. You're not gonna see LeBron come out of the dressing room getting the whole crowd to eat. It just wrestling. It's the sing along. It's the play along. It's the catchphrase. And his is caught fire. So I'd love to hear chat. Who has really had? There you go. I see a Daniel Bryan yes moment.
That was 11 years ago.
I was gonna say. So I'm talking maybe post pandemic. What energy?
The Roman Reigns entrance does not compare. The Roman Reigns entrance is similar to the same person who said Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
either way, here's what we can agree.
Oh, but damn, come on.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, here to tell you a little bit about the nonstop savings happening over here at SaveWithConrad.com. Are high credit card balances holding you down on the card? If you're looking to give a guitar shot to your credit card debt or give your home the push it deserves with some upgrades and remodeling, you need to go to SaveWithConrad.com. That's right, SaveWithConrad.com. Conrad and his team are routinely helping my world listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. Oh, did I mention you get to skip your next 2 house payments? Take a cue from The Last Outlaw, because if anybody knows how to get the bag, it's me. Strut on over to SaveWithConrad.com today and see how much money you can save for free. That's right, it's SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com. Friend of the show, James Stewart, is actually suggesting something I thought about but changed my mind about saying out loud when we're talking about Jey Uso's entrance. He compares it to the Bray Wyatt entrance. As far as the lights and the fans interacting with, their phones, I agree. But as far as the energy, there's no comparison. I think the energy of a Daniel Bryan, yes, would be there. But with the music and the lights, it feels like Jey has perhaps borrowed a little bit from Bray and a little bit from Daniel Bryan. And what we've got here is sort of the best practices from both. I'm with you. I think that's the reason kids gravitate to it. They love that reaction. They want to do it around the house. They want to do it on the ball fields. Like, man, who would have thought yeet was a thing? But here it is. So let's talk about wrestling.
Go ahead. No, but James, I appreciate the analogy, but the Bray Wyatt live, and I'm assuming you're there. Conrad, did you ever see a Bray Wyatt live entrance?
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
To me, it was the more modern Undertaker entrance.
I was going to say, but the energy, I think I've told you that moment. Memorial Day is when it aired, but it was a couple of weeks before that, 95, me and Road Dogg against Undertaker and Paul Bearer. But when the gong hit, and I'm the talent in the ring, and hell, Mark, I worked with him when he broke in Texas. He came to Tennessee, so I knew him well. But the energy that would go through a crowd was super cool. Bray, you're right. It had just a unique electricity that again, I don't want to say it has nothing to do with that wrestling, because it has everything to do about wrestling, but it wasn't anything other than the music hits. And I want to see this guy come through the curtain. Take her same way. Yeet to another level. Yeah. All right. We'll finish on that. Move on, pal.
Night 1, I think, also has Jade Cargill and Naomi. I think, fun fact, if I have this right, this might be the first singles women's match in WrestleMania history where a title wasn't on the line. And it just happens to be with 2 African-American women. So they're making history in a lot of ways here. Jade Cargill has had an interesting story. I was able to call it with my friends on the Elimination Chamber and said, hey, wait a minute, I think, and now here it is. I like that they have a story. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here You got a prediction? Is Naomi getting her hand raised, or is it Jade Cargill's night?
Jade in under 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yep, they're going to go strong.
Night 2. We should run through some of those matches. Silva's got our graphics for us. We got the main event. We'll start with the big one right here. Everybody wants to know from night 1, what is going to happen with Paul Heyman? Of course, they have connected the dots with a now more than 10-year-old promo from Paul Heyman talking about, I will one day walk down the aisle with you when you main event WrestleMania. And now we see a 3-way dance. It's 2 of the 3 members of the Shield, which may or may not have been something that Punk had a hand in back in 2013. What do you expect here with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk? It feels like Paul Heyman's the monkey in the middle. Does he wind up siding with his tribal chief, CM Punk? Or is it a swerve, bro? Is he with Seth Rollins? What do you expect?
Oh, I find it damn near impossible to think Roman's not going over. It just that simple. Big show, closing the show. I think it's just that simple. I think that's where we're going. I think it'll be a hell of a match. I think it'll be super dramatic. Heyman will have his hand in it in kind of multiple ways. I guess Brock Lesnar is not a possibility. Is that accurate, Conrad?
The report from Dave Meltzer is that it is a WWE legal call. It's not up to Triple H. And that until whatever it is with Vince and Brock is settled with that complaint from January of last year, then Brock Lesnar will not be back in WWE. He will not be used, and Triple H's hands are tied. Nick Khan is not going to sort of get outside of the guidance of the legal department.
Yeah. So that being said, I think Roman's over, closes the show. Heyman will have a very, he'll be the story, which is amazing to me. He ain't no spring chicken, but he deserves every bit of it because there's so much intrigue around it, and he creates intrigue. And, we've still got 6 days to get there. We got a Raw tonight. Be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. So your call is, you think Roman Reigns walks away victorious?
Yes.
I'm going Seth Rollins.
With the hand raised?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think Seth wins and Heyman had a hand in it, and now the story gets real interesting.
Okay.
We'll see. Let's talk about night 2. We've got Drew McIntyre stepping in there with Damian Priest. Of course, in an alternate universe, these guys would be battling for the world title, but that's going to be for Gunther and Jey Uso. I think these guys are going to have a chip on their shoulder. We saw Drew McIntyre and Sheamus and Gunther just beat the ever-loving shit out of each other last year at WrestleMania. I kind of expect more of that. Hard-hitting, old school. What do you see here?
I think Drew puts Damian through a physical, just brutal match, but I think Damian gets his hand raised. It's Mania. There's a street fight stipulation, correct? If I remember. Yeah.
Don't know.
I think so.
Another match that we're going to be seeing on night 2 is going to be AJ Styles and Logan Paul. It feels like Logan Paul always answers the call. He always pulls out all the stops for the big shows. And his matches usually deliver. I don't see this being the exception to that. We know AJ Styles is somebody that you and I hold in high regard here. And I'm curious, we know that there's going to be a viral moment coming out of this match. That is the reason you bring Logan Paul in. I'm wondering if it'll be with some outside stuff, like you mentioned Jake Paul a moment ago. Maybe it'll be his partner in crime. Maybe it'll be his manager. Who knows? I mean, he does have a new reality show on HBO. So maybe they'll use this as an opportunity to promote that. I can't be sure, but I do know something is going to happen viral in this. But who do you think wins the match? Does Logan need the win, or does AJ, Jeff?
Has Logan ever gotten beat on a big show?
Yes.
On a big show he has? Okay.
Yes.
I still think with the right, here I go, a celebrity engagement in this match, but I think it would be a great story for some unknown celebrity to really be inserted and AJ get his hand raised. And I know that sounds like sentimental. That's what I want, blah, 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 blah. Yes. But I think there's a story to be told if AJ, because I think people are saying Logan's going over. I think there's a good little, a hell of a moment for AJ to get his hand raised, but the reason he does is whatever celebrity involvement suits Logan, and maybe they take Logan to another, Logan goes in a different direction towards SummerSlam or something to that effect.
You asked if Logan has lost on a big stage. His first loss on a big stage was 3 years ago in Saudi Arabia when Roman Reigns beat him. But Seth Rollins beat him at WrestleMania 39.
Okay.
I also saw Cody Rhodes beat him over in Saudi Arabia. And over SummerSlam this past year, we saw LA Knight beat him. So he has lost, some big matches before. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a major issue, but
it won't be the first time is where I was going. I think if he hadn't done those, so he's done 3 jobs on big shows. So it wouldn't be a complete shocker for AJ to go over like I was potentially thinking.
We've got the women's tag match on the line for the tag belts. We got Liv Morgan teaming up with Raquel Rodriguez. They're the champs, and they're coming in to take on Bayley and Lyra. Do you think Bayley and Lyra can pick up the win here, or does Liv Morgan keep her tag team gold?
I'm going to say Liv. They keep the champs the champ. I think it's that simple.
Another big one on Sunday night. The 4-way for the Intercontinental title. Jeff, I've always heard as a wrestler, I've heard a lot of wrestlers say that these sort of big multi-man matches, they can be a cluster F, but you've got a who's who in this. Finn Balor might be like a modern Dolph Ziggler in that he may be so good it's to his detriment. I don't remember this guy having a stinker on pay-per-view ever. I don't expect one here. He's always in phenomenal shape. His stuff looks great. I'm a big Finn Balor fan, so I would love if he won it. But I can also see how everyone would want to boo the dog out of Dominic Mysterio if he somehow stole this championship. Braun Breaker is seemingly on a tear, destined for the main events, maybe the spear of the millennium that we just recently saw. And Penta is the new hot act in WWE. If you had to guess who's getting their hand raised, who's leaving as the assistant general manager of WWE?
As you call it, I got to go Braun over. I mean, the recipe for this, because I like the matchup. And yes, any 4-way can turn into a cluster, but I don't expect that at all. It'll be layered up so well, and I see Braun over Dom, and everybody will get over. All 4 guys will leave this ring better than when they started.
Do you wish that WWE at times would do their multi-man matches like ECW used to, where it was like an elimination? So when you lose, they're out of the match, as opposed to you don't have to get pinned in order to lose the title?
I like that. 1 fall, 1 match. It's easier to understand, and I think it creates the drama that enhances it. And a lot of people, you can lose your title with it. Well, that's the rules. That's how it's laid out there. So it is more challenging for the champion. But I think that goes with the intrigue and I think it can really add a layer of a match, especially when the announcers are hammering home that point up top, and then later in the match, the callback when hypothetically, let's say Penta has Dom laid to rights, and it's everybody in the building is convinced the title switching, and you get the right camera shot, and you get over there and you see Braun literally either incapacitated or down or so far outside the ring, there's nothing he can do. But at the very last second, you slap Finn in for the false. But anyway, a lot of drama can be added to that. So I like it.
Jeff, the next match up is Rhea Ripley versus
Silva. We just we're adding you to the mix. So go ahead, pal.
Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair for the Women's World Championship in a triple threat. Who do you got on this one?
Oh, come on. I just think the momentum of Rhea, it's just hard. Yeah, I don't, because at this point we're going over 2 nights, and I'm trying to think of potential title switches and everything that goes with that. And so, we're deep into night 2, and what titles will change hands. I don't see Rhea's changing. I think she'll get the W. Yeah.
Well, hang on. Rhea's not the champ. Io Sky's the champ.
Rhea over, new champ.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Well, it shows you that I'm not completely dialed in there, but yes.
Well, listen, I know we're not going to get any favors for saying this, but I think this is the most women's matches in the history of WrestleMania. We've got 4. So we've got 2 matches on Saturday that are women's matches and 2 on Sunday that are women's matches. So there's only 13 matches that are announced right now, and 4 of those are women's matches. Is that too much of the good stuff for you? I ask because I know that there's a lot of great talented women on the WWE side of things. I'm not arguing that, but I do wonder about some of these matches and some of the guys who don't have a match. And I'm like, man, it's like I'd want that person on the card. I won't single anybody out because I know that'll get somebody heat accidentally. But I was kind of shocked that we have this many women's matches. I know that WWE has taken shit at times for having just sort of a token women's match on each show. But now we're doing 2. So, 4 of the 13 are women's matches this time. How does that strike you?
So there's 7 on one night, 6 on another is how this show breaks down.
Yep.
And they don't have any, what do they call it? Kickoff show. Ours is 0 hour. They don't have any kickoff show matches.
Some of those are going to wind up being kickoff. I mean, I don't know. Who cares? I'm saying there's 13 matches announced. I don't know what goes where, but I'm just saying it's a lot of women on the there's 13 matches announced total.
Okay. And my point being, I think in Dynasty in Philly, I think we had 13 matches in one night. And yes, I'm going to go into back what I always, and I really believe this with all my heart, creative is so subjective. So 2 matches, 2 female matches a show, that's, 2 out of 6 and 2 out of 7. That's a third, a little less than. I don't think, because as we kind of went through the lineups, no, I don't think that's overkill. Do I think some people are absolutely going to look at a certain talent, and I don't know which one in particular as far as a male? Oh, they're not on the show, they should be on the show. Well, pal, that's subjective. And when you get right down to it, you have, in their situation, you got 2 hours on Monday, 3 hours on Friday. In our situation, we got 2 on Wednesday and 2 on Saturday. It's just the amount of time you can put together a story that won't get people to watch. And I get it, both sides of the argument, but no, I don't think it's too many.
I do want to ask a little bit about some things we're seeing in the chat right now. We are going to talk about the main event, but since we just mentioned Io Sky, Andrew says, hey, what did Kevin Nash say about Io recently? And I have to admit, when I saw that in the live chat, I didn't know myself. But Chapter 2, Unit 4 says, Kevin Nash is right about Io Sky. She can't cut a promo and is too small. I feel like we've heard that comment a lot. And respectfully, a lot of wrestlers on TV and in main events and in high-profile positions who have fat contracts, respectfully, can't cut a promo. So I don't think that's necessarily fair. Where do you land if this is true, because I didn't hear it from Kevin's mouth, but where do you land on the criticism that so-and-so, it doesn't have to be about Io Sky, is too small and can't cut a promo? I mean, you could say that about a lot of cast of characters through wrestling history that have gotten over. Like once upon a time, people said Daniel Bryan was too small. I mean, I struggle with that. How do you respond to that criticism that so-and-so, fill in the blank here, is too small and can't cut a promo?
I think there's 2 different sides to that. The too small argument or topic of discussion, I've never, ever, and I wish I could remove myself because I'm not a big guy. I was never a big guy. Matter of fact, I went and worked out at the ring yesterday and had some guys in there and different discussions, but I got on a phone call after that. He's like, what are you doing? Anyway, we got kind of almost in this discussion, Conrad, about, and look, this go back. The business has changed. It's different. It has evolved. But as I told some of the young guys yesterday, in that, look, let me finish before I get into the promo part of it, the small part of it. You know, look at Conor McGregor. What does he weigh? I mean, I think he's the biggest box office attraction that UFC's ever seen. Yeah, that's the fight game. Professional wrestling, you look at, you know, we can fill in. There's a lot of guys that are a lot bigger than fill in the blank. Hulk was a big guy. Stone Cold, relatively big, but they're not the biggest, all that kind of stuff. It's all in the persona. So, you know, in this territory, Mole Man, I don't say he loves small guys, but he never, ever was a big fan of the big guys, because his opinion was they just can't deliver the match that's needed. When you have a return mindset, and in our business, we were every Monday night, but in today's world, you got every Wednesday, you got Dynamite, every Saturday, you've got Collision. So you better be able to perform at a high level with multiple kind of opponents and bigger guys. It's just much harder. So I don't ever subscribe to the fact this guy's too small to do anything. I truly would like to say, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it is way down the list of priorities. Now, that being said, the promo side of things, and yes, the business has changed, and you were talking about promoting the brand as opposed to the personalities, if you will. I'm still going to go into it is so hard this day and age to get over by just, I don't like this term, your move set, because they're all, I don't say exactly the same, but they all can blend together. And that's in this generation. Well, in the 90s, you take the 10 top quote unquote in-ring workers. Yeah, they had different styles, and Sean or Brett and, you know, whoever you wanted to put in WCW and all that kind of stuff. But what has always set people apart is the promo ability. How can you talk them in the building? And that always, I believe, will be where the rubber meets the road. If you can cut a promo, you can create revenue for yourself and for the promotion, as long as you can deliver that. I'll say this in my own experience. Love it or hate it, a guitar shot creates a moment. Love it or hate it, I can do a babyface promo or a heel promo. I can make my opponents look good. It's never been about my ability to do high spots or anything like that. And we could fill in the blank with a bunch of other guys. No doubt about it. The promo ability, to me, is the measuring stick to the value of a talent to a roster. I just think there's no gray area. If you can't cut a promo, man, oh man, it is really hard to get you into an episodic nature of programming. It can be done, but then you get into, you know, the big matches and then the cycle of that. But, you know, the weekly episode, we're telling stories. How do we tell stories? With our promos and our matches. If you're cutting that in half, it creates a challenge. So if you can cut a promo and tell a story, I think it's invaluable. And I tell every seminar, folks, I told those guys yesterday, that as much as you do your in-ring work and work your ass off and get as many reps as you can, I don't care how small the crowd is or how big it is or how far you got to drive, do all that, but work equally as hard on your out-of-ring stuff as you do on your in-ring stuff, because ultimately that's what matters. You've got to be able to talk them into the building.
Jeff, do you think that matters most as a top guy? Like, in my mind, I think of something Dusty said once upon a time, where he said, you know, wrestling's supposed to be like a buffet. You're supposed to have something for everybody. Wrestling's like the circus. So you need your trapeze artists, you need your lion tamers, you need your clowns. So you've got to have different stuff. I think the genesis of what you're saying is, without, and maybe I'm wrong on this, I think your belief is, without the ability to cut a promo, you have some self-limiting behavior. Like, you do have a glass ceiling that will be imposed, because the main event, the big merch sellers, the top stars, the biggest draws, they usually have one thing in common, and that's their strong promos. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, but I would even challenge that most of the time, the guys who were in the main events because they're just great workers or they have great matches or whatever you want to say, their run on top usually didn't sell a lot of merch. And I think that's the position that Kevin Nash comes from, which is, I mean, even when he gave a compliment or everybody was talking all about Will Ospreay once upon a time, he says, what are his merch numbers? What's his merch look like? Because to Kevin, being old school in the promoter sense, hey, people are voting with their wallet. Are they buying tickets to come see him? Or are they buying the merch? Like, are they opening up their wallet? Are they voting with their wallet? I think that's what you mean, because we clearly know that you got to have a popcorn match. You got to have a tag match. You got to have a ladies match. You got to have a hot start. You definitely want some lucha. Maybe you have some blood. So there can be something for everybody. But the thing that's going to be the common denominator amongst your top draws in history is they can talk, right?
I'll tell you a story that popped in my brain yesterday. Conrad, I bit my lip because I said, I don't need to give these guys this kind of, because it just be less is more, quick speech. But we're on the pot, so I'll tell it to you. And I can't tell you how many times Lawler or my father or others with this, but Dusty, you know, he came up on Wednesdays as a talent, and, you know, your favorite line in a trash can, but, you know, he was we'll call him a Wednesday regular in the asylum. But, you know, Dusty literally would walk in, especially the first 6-8 Wednesdays we had him, walk in, stand there with his cowboy hat. He had that old raggedy bag that was straight up Dusty and all this, and he'd look around. And a couple of times I said, Bob, go meet him. But he wanted to be paid when he walked in the door. I got it. We were a startup. He wanted to get paid. He doesn't, you know, and I got that. I totally get that. So we paid him all this, but he came literally as a talent and wanted it to really know. And he would watch the show, but he wanted to know what he was doing, how he could make it better, if he was okay with it, just kind of ebb and flow. But he was really worried about that when we got to Orlando and he was coming in, and before they kind of made the decision, hey, Jeff, you need help. You got a lot going on at home. And we won't get into that because we've covered it on a lot of the episodes. But me and Dusty had a couple of cool sit downs that he was just picking my brain. And Conrad, do you know when we went through the whole talent roster? I mean, okay, let's look at it. First question out of his mouth: can he talk? Okay, well, yeah, he's all right and all this. Okay, we get to the next talent. Well, can he talk? Can you teach him to talk? A guy like Dusty Rhodes, that was, you know, at that stage in my career, I'd heard, you know, my upbringing, the different, you know, Dallas and you know, Eric Embry, and doing the TVs on Friday nights and having to work with my dad and Eric, and it just kind of those conversations. I'm still new to the booking and being a part of all that, and the Memphis TVs, I was still really cutting my teeth. And, you know, you go to WWF and get that schooling, but, you know, I'm TNA, and I'm literally kind of year one, getting my understanding, and I've been doing it at this point 15 years or whatever it might be. But anyway, we get to Orlando, and Dusty I know that he's going to have much more of an active role. When he starts picking my brain on that, those are the type of conversations that I remember, like that his ass is about to be online. That's what matters. So I don't think that's old school mentality. I just, you know, you listen to the basketball coaches and the NIL money and all that kind of stuff in basketball that's flooding in like crazy, like football. But basketball, those guys will say, guys in and out of the portal, can he play defense and will he rebound for me? I mean, they don't ask if you can score. So I think that is the very fundamentals of really making a team successful. And that is at the top of the list for a wrestler. Can you cut a promo?
I love talking wrestling with you. And so does Skullface Records. He says, this is the best live ever. Double J for president. Good Lord.
Get out of here, Skullface. Well, I appreciate that.
Our main event, what everybody's going to want to talk about, is Sunday night. It's Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. This is the first time we've seen a heel John Cena at WrestleMania, I think maybe ever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, certainly in a long, long time. I, for one, am looking forward to this because it feels like Big Match John always delivers. This will be Cody Rhodes' 4th main event heading into WrestleMania. I think his WrestleMania record is 3-8. And meanwhile, John has defended his title twice successfully at WrestleMania, and he's won 6 titles at WrestleMania. I believe that John Cena is going to break Ric Flair's record and become the 17-time world champion, maybe with a little help from The Rock, maybe with a little help from Travis Scott. I don't know. What do you think happens in this match, and do you think the glass breaks?
No on the glass break.
No Stone Cold.
Not in this match. Why do you think this match? Maybe I'll go down that rabbit hole first. Why would you think it would be in this match?
Just because I don't have a reason.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Austin did interviews that said I'll be in Vegas, and if The Rock shows up and Cody needs me, I'll be there. But that's off the cuff when he's doing dune buggy racing. You know, what's he supposed to say? Hell no, I'm not going to be there. I don't give a rip about Cody. I mean, he ain't going to say that. So, but you think if John is there, he'll be used for something else? I mean, if Austin is there, he'll be used for something else?
If Rock's in the match, Stone Cold is in the match.
Well, what would Rock do on the show if he's not involved in John Cena and Cody Rhodes?
Well, whatever he wants.
Well, I get that. I know that he's going to show up and say, guys, how about this? And then we're going to do that. I got that. But what else would make sense on this show besides?
Let me ask you, have they teased Rock at all? Not since the original angle, right?
Elimination Chamber was the last time we saw The Rock.
Yeah.
But do you think the dude made, I don't know, $20 million for a single match last year? You don't think he's showing up at WrestleMania this year, the biggest one ever?
Yeah.
He's right. Going to be there. Rock's there.
Rock's there. Stone Cold's there. They're involved in the main event. And maybe the outshot. I don't know.
The outshot is Cody drinking beer with Stone Cold.
Okay.
But I could get behind they steal the title and then the glass breaks. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I mean, listen, what you're saying makes more sense. You could say, hey, Cody retains and it's because the glass broke.
Yeah.
Who's walking out with the title? Final answer.
Cody. I don't
think there's more money in the chase. I mean, he's been the champ for a year. You say just keep it going.
See, man, when you see that's where when you
if Cena doesn't break Ric Flair's record at WrestleMania, will it happen at a fucking Backlash? Like, to me, it just feels like if you're going to do that, you do it here. Cody drops the title. Cena's the champ.
You've got me flip-flopping, and I hate a guy that flip-flops. They're going to say, Jeff, you flip-flop 4 times during Conrad. Conrad swayed you this way and this way and this way, but they all make sense. Man, this is what wrestling is all about. Seriously.
By the way, let me just throw this at you.
Okay.
Cena is on all the advertising for WWE live events after WrestleMania. Cody's nowhere on the poster. Now, that could be a false flag operation, and they're doing that in purpose because they know that we'll pick up on it and talk about it. But it could also be because here's the thing, like if Cody beats John Cena, what's John Cena's retirement tour for the rest of the year look like? He's just in the middle of the card shaking hands and kissing babies? Or is he trying to run roughshod and give the rub to somebody as a third man who is going to be there all the time? Because listen, if you're going to bring Brock Lesnar back, you bring him back right here.
A wrestling historian rooting for John Cena, expecting Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Think about all the merch you can sell for John Cena for breaking the Ric Flair record.
I was kind of going back down just as you were when you said, okay, so what's Cena's retirement tour going to look like? And I went, okay, really whatever John wants. And what John wants is the most money being generated. He's a company guy and thinks, like
that's him in the main event.
Yeah. And kind of where you going with the champ is here, Stu, I got 17. I mean, there's a couple of, there's all kind of layers there. But anyway, generating the revenue.
Well, While you're thinking, Devin Dowling says, any chance Cena just turns face against The Rock?
And I mean, at the end of the year, that thing's he'll be celebrated like none other. But if we've got 9 months to go or 7, 8 months to go, we got what you're just saying. Wins it, him and Rock are aligned. They'll get us to SummerSlam. Maybe he drops it back to Cody there, and then he rides off August, September, October, November, December.
Could also be Punk. If Punk gets screwed on night one by Paul Heyman, and he says, screw it. And now he costs Cody the belt, and it's John Cena. And I mean, who knows?
It's got the chatter. Whole lot of chatter going on.
Whole lot of chatter going on. Well, that's what we're all wondering is what's going to happen this weekend. And we want you to set those calendars now. Better than that, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications bell. Jeff and I are going to be live immediately following night one of WrestleMania. We're going to be talking about it live immediately after the show. We've got some friends who are going to be in the building. So if something happens off air, we'll be able to talk about that. And we'll break it down, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Join Double J and I for an immediate reaction here on YouTube at myworldpod.com. That's easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and you'll get to interact with a Hall of Famer just moments after WrestleMania. Share your opinions and ask your questions. It's going to be a lot of fun